Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, bird enthusiasts, fellow intellectuals who have nothing better to do on April Fool's Day than debate avian patriotism. And to those who simply enjoy watching professors and their students argue about something completely ridiculous in a pretentiously as possible way. Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome to our yearly interspecies American iconography disputation, otherwise known as RIPPAC's April Fool's Debate. Tonight, we will settle, for at least the next 12 months, the most pressing question in ornithological patriotism. Which bird truly embodies America's strength, America's spirit, America's soul? On one side, the soaring symbol of majestic freedom, known for its regal appearance and tendency to appear on government buildings looking judgmental. Let's hear it for the eagle! And on the other side, nature's most delicious patriot, the bird Benjamin Franklin championed and Thanksgiving made famous. Let's hear it for the turkey! It is a debate truly for the birds. A debate in which we figure out what is fair and what is foul. I am Professor Ben Dworkin, and as the director of the Rowan Institute for Public Policy and Citizenship, known as RIPPAC, I will be your host this evening. Tonight, we will determine which bird truly deserves to rule the roost of American symbolism. Will we be eagle-eyed in our analysis, or will we just be talking turkey? Either way, I promise not to wing it as your moderator.
This is quality stuff, guys.
Why are we here? Well, we are here to support the shop, our Rowan-based food pantry for those students facing food insecurity, of which there are far too many on this campus. And to those who donated items at the table in the back, thank you. Second, we are here to celebrate democracy. President Andrew Jackson, in 1837, placed a 1,400-pound block of cheese in the lobby of the White House. Now, this was before refrigeration, folks, so let that sink in. A 1,400-pound block of cheese in the summer in Washington, D.C., which was a city literally built on a swamp. Historians have confirmed that this was the first and the last time the White House smelled worse than Congress. After the smell got to be so bad, President Jackson invited the public to partake in the cheese, and they did. This big block of cheese, all 1,400 pounds of it, was gone in but 2 hours, devoured by the needy citizens of Washington. Tonight, here at Rowan University, we recall and memorialize this kind of democracy for the people. An ingathering of all who are hungry, not just for the yummy turkey sandwiches and the deviled eagle eggs we had outside. No, tonight we bring together all who are hungry for intellectual stimulation. And finally, we are here to have fun. Because in these days, bitterness and bile, partisanship and pettiness, dissent and dysfunction, who couldn't use a few laughs, right?
Am I right or am I right? Yeah, okay.
Now, at this point, the University Counsel's Office has advised me that I am required to read the following disclaimer. This debate contains 100% certified academic nonsense. Any resemblance to actual ornithological facts is purely coincidental, as is anything that happens to be funny. Purely coincidental. Side effects of attending may include uncontrollable eye-rolling and groaning, spontaneous bird-calling, and the inexplicable urge to argue about poultry at your next family gathering. You enter at your own risk. You have now been warned. Here's how tonight's program is going to work. Each debater will come up and deliver an 8-minute or so presentation arguing about why their bird is the most American. I've been assured that these presentations will be 50% obnoxious academic research, 50% passionate nationalism, and 50% pure, unhinged silliness. I have also been assured that all participants will do their best to hit their time limit, which reminds me, I just heard about a new support group for those who have to sit through endless meetings and lectures. It's called On and On and On and On. Okay, I'm just saying. Like, if you've never been in a department meeting, you have no idea how all these things can go. After the presentations, our esteemed bird advocates will sit at the table and answer questions submitted by you, our lovely, lovely audience. But here's the best part. The winner tonight will be determined not by academic merit, not by scientific accuracy, not by logical reasoning. No, no, no. Tonight, the winner will be determined by crowd noise. That's right, we are reducing years of academic expertise to those who can yell the loudest, just like a faculty meeting. The side whose supporters can cheer the loudest will be crowned the winner. So warm up now, okay? And this is the one critically important rule to protect everyone's reputation. Absolutely no fact-checking is allowed. So, I ask you, the audience, are you ready for the great debate? No, 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 are you ready? Then let the exquisite, get it? Okay, festivities commence. Please welcome to the stage, representing Team Eagle, hailing from, Chalk Bluff, Texas, a professor in the Department of History. Please welcome Dr. Bill Carrigan.
Pleasure and an honor to be asked to this prestigious event. I hope to live up to his belief in me. Let me get this started here. Whoops. All right. Well, we're off to a rip-roaring start here. Okay, so when I first was told about this, the question is, which is more American? And I was like, is this a trick question? One is on the national seal, quarter, was even named the national bird in 2024. So this seemed to be quite puzzling to me. Perhaps the turkey camp is planning a coup d'etat. That's the only way I can imagine anyone choosing the turkey as a more American bird. So I said, let's imagine what happens if they succeeded. What happens if they overturn this tradition, which has existed since 1782, of the eagle on the national seal? I would imagine this would be almost as bad as maybe overturning George Washington's precedent of a 2-term limit. Not as bad, but maybe. So anyway, here's what I came up with. 10 reasons this historian is glad the United States did not go with the turkey. Okay, so as I mentioned, the eagle is all over American history and culture, graces our national seal, money, quarter, all this kind of stuff. You know that. So that is... why would we possibly want to substitute the turkey? Okay, anyway, historic moments and much more would be ruined if we had this. So I don't think that you would possibly want to do this. All right, so many of you probably can know, where did this quote come from? The eagle has landed. The moon landing. That's pretty cool. The eagle has landed. Can you imagine if it said this? Houston, Tranquility Base here. The turkey has landed. That really wouldn't work well. I don't think we would remember it the same way. So no, the turkey has not landed. It has to be the eagle. Don't ruin that. What about this one? Let him get an eagle on his button. Anyone know where this quote comes from? Famous American. One of my favorites. So you had me in class. Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass. He talked about this regarding black soldiers in the Civil War. But imagine if instead of the eagle, he had had this. Once let the black man put upon his person the brass letters U.S. Let him get a turkey on his button. There's no power on earth that can deny that he earned the right of citizenship in the United States. Wouldn't work. Frederick Douglass would have come up with something different because he's smarter than that. No turkey for Frederick Douglass. The eagle symbolizes freedom. A great quote from a wonderful American leader. The turkey symbolizes freedom. What? No, the turkey does not symbolize freedom. It does not remind us to break free. What do we think of when we think about turkeys? That's more like the turkey image. Definitely not a symbol of freedom. Lincoln would say no to the turkey replacing the eagle. What about fly like an eagle? That's another quote from a person. Probably haven't heard this one, but it's Eleanor Roosevelt. She wouldn't say fly like a turkey with the courage to explore new heights. No, because she might imagine, well, that is a sad result of a turkey. All right, Eleanor, also not a fan, I'm sure, of the turkey. The ability of the eagle is its ability to soar high. Yes, that makes sense for the eagle. Eagles do fly high. What about this? The freedom of the turkey is an ability to soar high and see the world from a different perspective. No, Thoreau would not have imagined the turkey for this role. There we go. The turkey is about to take off to its ultimate height. All right. Let's shift over. I do love my historical quotes, but let's move over. What would the national seal look like with the turkey? Something like this. Come on now, that's no good. Can't change out the eagle for that. All right. What about Thanksgiving? We love Thanksgiving. I'm in favor of Thanksgiving. But come on, eating a national bird? Most countries don't eat their national bird. That would be a little strange. I don't think that would be cool. I think it would be weird to eat the national bird. What about the Philadelphia turkeys? Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know if the Philadelphia turkeys would be a very good change there. So maybe Cowboy fans would be happy if it was the Philadelphia turkeys. And what about this? What about the famous chant, "Fly, Eagles, fly"? That works quite well, but can you imagine the new chant? "Fly, turkeys, fly." Turkeys don't fly very well. Opponents of the Eagles would have, or the turkeys would have a good time with that. But number one, in the end, I think it's just this simple. The reason why you should not have the turkey as the national bird is they just look stupid. Come on. The turkey is not something you want as your national symbol. Perhaps they're cute in a kind of you feel bad for them kind of way, but in the end, you cannot have them as your national bird. Thank you very much.
Let's give another round for Dr. Carrigan. Hey! And let's also thank, everybody say hi, Liz. Hi, Liz. Okay, so Liz is here to help make sure we try and avoid the various technical difficulties. Thank you, Dr. Carrigan. And now, welcome to the stage, advocating on behalf of the turkey. Also originally from the great state of Texas, from a town, I kid you not, called Rosenberg, Texas. That is a town I want to see, okay? A professor in the Department of Communication Studies, please welcoming, representing Team Turkey, Professor Julie Haynes. The clicker should be working.
Yes, I got it. Did everyone notice that the first image that Bill had was a turkey vulture and not a turkey? No, we're not sticking to facts. I know we're not sticking to facts. I know we are not. Greetings, everyone. As a rhetorical critic by training, we will now commence with a close textual analysis of why the turkey should be the national symbol. But first, let us behold the eagle. To do our close textual analysis, we will first start at the top of the bird, working our way down to notice the permanent scowl. Then we will also see the downturned beak and the permanent perpetual frown. Now, at best, this means that the turkey is an uptight and the eagle is an uptight and too serious bird. For the youngins in the audience, look it up. It's the Muppets. Sam the Eagle. Uptight, serious, no sense of humor. We do not want that as our national symbol. So at best, uptight. At worst, The eagle is an angry bird. Now we know that anger, particularly permanent anger, is associated with things like high blood pressure, heart disease, death. Ladies and gentlemen, do we want death as our national symbol? Indeed, we do not. Next, we will take a look at the physique of the eagle. Now, the eagle's physique is quite muscular. In fact, I would call it hypermuscular. It is perpetually in a position of attacking its prey. So there is muscularity that is geared toward violence. In fact, you can even, if you type an eagle into your phone, that is the position. You will see the eagle swooping on its prey. Now, this is appropriate for football. We're fine with it for football. But as our national symbol, I do not believe that it is appropriate to have a violent, mean, angry symbol. The eagle is also an isolated and very lonely bird. I mean, this makes sense. No one really wants to be friends with an uptight, too serious, angry, hypermuscular person. Maybe the hypermuscular, but the eagle is an isolated. When they are not, mating, they're out scavenging and alone. Again, we do not want a hyper-individualistic and solitary bird as our national symbol. So let's take a look then, shall we, at the turkey. First of all, does this look like a face that is concerned with beauty norms? The eagle has embraced its wrinkles. From its wisdom, it's embraced its turkey neck. And of course, it is adornment. In fact, second to the peacock, it is one of the most flamboyant birds, if you will. So it is not that it is eschewing these norms, but rather it is not embracing this perfection of beauty that one might expect potentially from the eagle. It is actually a scientific fact, this you can look up, that turkeys are not always angry. In fact, they express a wide range of emotions. This is a PowerPoint picture from a scientific study that was done that talked about how turkeys can actually demonstrate multiple moods. In fact, in Japan, it's called the seven-faced bird. So when the eagle is calm, it is light pale blue, and when it is angry, it has a red face. So we know that expressing a multitude of emotions and all of our emotions leads to a healthier existence. We are healthier when we embrace the anger sometimes, but not all of the time. So that is another reason that we should have it as our national symbol. There is no attempt at muscularity in the turkey. In fact, the turkey embraces its size. There is no body shaming in the turkey community. Thank you for the clap. In fact, the larger the turkey, the more esteemed the turkey is. I feel like I'm going in and out, sorry. So therefore, we should embrace this national symbol that is not obsessed with its muscles and rather embraces all different sizes. In fact, embraces the larger, the better. And finally, the turkey is not an isolated, lonely, individualist, sad little bird. It is a social animal, a multitude of flocks, as you can see here. Male, female, young, old, everyone living in harmony together. Therefore, as you can see, the turkey, despite Professor Carrigan's disparagement, is a fine and ideal example of what should be our national symbol. Thank you.
All right, another round of applause for Professor Haynes. Let's hear it. Whoa, nice job. Okay, next. We now shift to the younger generation, our future scholars and leaders. Heaven help us. Please welcome to the stage, on behalf of Team Eagle, hailing from Voorhees, New Jersey, a political science major from the class of 2027. Please welcome Anna Cherian.
Thank you for the passion, everybody. 12 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men and one bird are created equal. As the great American orator Daniel Webster said of another beloved American symbol of freedom, I shall offer no introduction to the great and mighty eagle. She needs none. There she is. Behold her and judge for yourself. The bald eagle is a regal testament to unapologetic exceptionalism, soaring effortlessly over every other creature in the world. The process of an eagle hunting prey is a breathtaking combination of precision, speed, and sheer power, showcasing an apex predator's role at the top of the food chain in the natural world. It's a powerful demonstration of nature's balance and the intricate relationships between predator and prey. The eagle, with its keen vision, powerful talons, and strategic methods, symbolize the raw beauty and efficiency of the natural world. What better animal to symbolize America? The bald eagle. Oh no. The bald eagle, with its commanding presence and piercing gaze, exemplifies the raw Hobbesian power of a Leviathan state, one that can and will obliterate a rodent from 200 feet in the air without any remorse. The eagle's role in nature, preying on weaker animals with precision, it's inevitable. This perfectly mirrors the ideological underpinnings of Manifest Destiny. Just as the eagle hunts and controls its environments with strategic precision, the idea that Manifest Destiny calls for America to expand its territory and influence across the continent, nay, the world. We are driven by a sense of mission and destiny. The eagle's unchallenged dominance in the wild parallels America's belief that it has a divine and inevitable right to spread westward and expand its borders to its current ones, coast to coast. The wingspan of this country. The eagle's assertion of itself in the animal kingdom symbolizes the nation's capability to stand tall, take risks, and assert its independence, much like the American ethos of personal freedom and ambition. Americans' democratic institutions, freedoms, and values should extend. No other nation or force could challenge our vision for the future. The belief was that America's destiny was not only to spread to its borders, but also spread the ideal of liberty, much like the eagle represents the pinnacle of independence and sovereignty in the natural world. Now, let's talk about our competitor. What is this? What is this? The turkey is a beastly manifestation of every American enemy. For starters, it does not hunt, it is hunted. The turkey, when confronted with danger, does not fight, does not flee, it simply stares, dumbfounded, as if waiting further instruction from a focus group. It is an indecisive and passive creature that symbolizes inefficiency and hesitation. Characteristics that an American would never be caught dead exhibiting. The eagle is a symbol of indomitable will and mission. The eagle's hunting prowess and natural dominance fit perfectly with the American drive to spread democracy. The turkey, in contrast, is often shown reactive as opposed to proactive. Its passivity in the face of peril reflects a nation that might sit back and wait for things to unfold, which is the opposite of the assertive action associated with the eagle and the spirit of America. What country is like the turkey, though? Now, why is Russia like the disgustingly pathetic Turkey? Russia has similarly exhibited delay reactionary decision-making, particularly when dealing with economic sanctions, diplomatic isolation, or shifting geopolitical alliances. It often frames itself as a victim of Western excellence, rather than a proactive force that shapes global order, like we do. The eagle represents dominance, self-sufficiency, and control, while the turkey, though capable of short bursts of aggression, is ultimately more symbolic of regional as opposed to global influence. Russia, while still a formidable power, I admit, lacks the global hegemony it once wielded during the Soviet era. Its military interventions showcase brute force, but often lack long-term strategic gains. The turkey may attack when provoked, but it does so with reckless abandon, lacking the calculated precision of the raptor of an eagle. Russia's military operations, particularly in Ukraine, initially displayed overconfidence, but that revealed logistical weaknesses, corruption, and poor strategic planning, more akin to a flailing turkey than a decisive eagle. Their fighting styles are showy and all talk. Turkeys puff themselves out to appear larger and more intimidating than they really are. Russia engages in nuclear posturing, disinformation campaigns, and exaggerated military threats. But its battlefield realities often expose critical weaknesses. While Russia still wields military force and nuclear deterrence, its reactionary posture, economic fragility, and poor strategic execution resemble the turkey's bluff and bluster approach to survival, a stark contrast to the eagle's decisive predatory powers. It is the eagle, not the turkey, that is a creature of pure executive action, the avian embodiment of Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1 of the United States Constitution, the Commander-in-Chief Clause. It is an F-22 Raptor of flesh and bone. Fine, go ahead. If you want to side with the communists, be my guest. But that's who I'm going to be supporting. In conclusion, to choose the turkey over the eagle would be akin to choosing James Buchanan over Lincoln, Aaron Burr over Hamilton, John C. Calhoun over Henry Clay, the Confederacy over the Union, an affront to history, destiny, and the indomitable will of a superpower. Thank you.
All right, another round of applause for Anna Cherian, folks. This is why we do it. All right, and now, last but not least, on behalf of Team Turkey, from the class of 2028, a volunteer EMT, a law and justice studies majors, and a resident of Franklinville, New Jersey, population 1,999. Literally. They're waiting for one more person to move in so they can hit the 2,000 mark. Folks, let's have a nice round of applause for Ryan Jones.
Franklinville's a trap, don't do it. All right, so how do you follow that? I am going to try. Thank you, Dr. Dworkin. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, my esteemed, if misguided, opponents. I stand before you today to answer a question that has plagued generations of Americans. Which is truly more American, the eagle or the turkey? So many among us point to the skies in favor of what they call a majestic bald eagle, something that supposedly symbols beauty and grace. I present to you a far superior candidate, the turkey. Now, first and foremost, let's admire the turkey. The turkey is a humble, hardworking, grounded, and a very good-looking bird. Turkeys, they don't waste their days majestically gliding over all of us, looking down on us like the arrogant individuals that they are. They get their feathers dirty. They're on the ground with us regular folks, hard at work, embodying American grit and resilience. They raise their families. They raise their chicks where we live, up to 15 of them at one time, which is a gigantic responsibility for any parent. And the eagle, on the other hand, can have up to 3 chicks at one time. And don't fact check me on this, but in an apt depiction of their inability to do even the most basic tasks, on average, only one of them survives into adulthood. So the eagles, dear audience, are unable to even maintain their own population. So Clearly, nature even knows that the eagle can barely handle its responsibilities. Meanwhile, the turkey is out here on the ground providing affordable and sustainable childcare for its young, and it manages to still find time to avoid becoming dinner. And I ask you, dear audience, if the eagle can claim the title of Bird Parent of the Year 249 years running, and I do not believe that it can. The eagles are skybound aristocrats, distant from people, isolated in their lofty nests. And I'm not alone. Yes, it's a cheap shot, but none other than Benjamin Franklin. Yes, the very Benjamin Franklin who decorates your $100 bills, tamed lightning for leisure. He wrote a letter to his daughter in 1784 where he described the turkey as a much more respectable bird native to America. A bird of courage, though a little vain and a touch silly, would not hesitate to attack a British guard who should presume to invade his yard. He might have been a little bit drunk, but I don't really think that matters. The bird is apt to protect his homeland, and I wonder who else might argue this as well. So history, Dr. Carrigan, provides us yet another argument. In March of 1768, George Washington, the father of our country, was recorded as having personally killed 5 different bald eagles on 5 separate occasions. His biography calls it a curious triumph for the father of his country, but we're going to look past that. Putting it into perspective, our nation's most respected leader, who's celebrated on yet some more currency, and we all love money, he's immortalized on Mount Rushmore and forever commemorated in the name of our nation's capital, saw the bald eagle not as an icon of perseverance, but as an inconvenience to remove. 5 times over. Washington found these birds so enjoyable to pursue that I don't know if any of you know anything about firearms, but you could spend up to 1.5 minutes reloading a flintlock rifle, and he did that over and over and over, and then one more time for good measure. And so perhaps he knew something that we don't, or perhaps the first presidential pardon should have gone to the turkeys. And so I must speak, ladies and gentlemen, of democracy that you tout so highly. I ask you to consider this. America boasts a robust turkey population of over 230 million individuals. Don't ask me where they live. That's not important. They live, but they do live, work, and play among us. And they compare it to a mere 7 million eagles that you just never get to see. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense because the turkey, in my mind, in this vein, truly represents the voice of the American majority. Turkeys, they unite families, gracing tables across our nation every Thanksgiving. They fuel heartfelt conversations, phenomenal naps, and a phenomenal time watching the Dallas Cowboys lose a football game. So I ask you then to consider not the Dallas Cowboys, troubling record. Yeah, you could consider that too. But did you know that the eagle is a criminal? And I say this, yes, it's a symbol of freedom, but seen here stealing their food, they engage regularly in petty theft from honest and hardworking animals. They scavenge, unwilling to honestly hunt for their meals, clearly showcasing an unwillingness to meaningfully contribute to society. Ben Franklin says in his letter that he does not get his living honestly, and if he saw another bird, he would pursue and take from him that which is not rightfully his. Now, my friend Mr. Franklin couldn't be here tonight, but he points out the obvious flaws of the bird's bad moral character. And if you question that, I invite you to go to an Eagles tailgate. Even more egregious, and I'm glad you brought up the sound, Anna, but it's blatant identity theft. I don't know if you know this, but you probably don't, and if you do, pretend like you don't. Reality is that sound is stolen from a red-tailed hawk. And so your bald eagle that you love so much squeaks as meek as a mouse, like your grandmother's rusty door hinge. Couldn't hear yours either, could we? So imagine the symbol of our nation caught in an act of deception. And I ask you again, dear friends, could you ever mistake a turkey's gobble? Turkeys are vocal. Trust me, they wake me up almost every morning in my yard. But they're also intelligently amusing and endearingly distinct icons of America. And so perhaps that brings up which troubles me most. The eagle is not exclusive to the United States of America, despite what some people might tell you. Dear friends, did you know that they are found most predominantly in Russia? Do we want a bird that is potentially loyal to the dastardly leaders of that wild nation? Their old czars to be sitting proudly on our great seal, perched in the halls of our justice, and sitting on our government buildings. No, and the funny part is it doesn't appear just once. There's 2 heads up there. 2 different eagle heads on the great seal of Russia. 2 is supposedly better than 1. Accusations of treason are serious indeed. I understand that. But ladies and gentlemen, our national security demands that we take this seriously. We should not permit a bird that hobnobs with foreign, hostile nations to grace our nation's seal or her beautiful buildings. But let me tell you, the eagle's special treatment doesn't end there, and this is a personal point of pretension for me. The eagles receive preferential government protection. Touch a feather on that pompous bird's head, and the full weight and wrath of the angry ogres of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the meanest and most relentless branch of our government, would write their mothers a ticket on Mother's Day, will rain down upon you. This is I don't know if you could tell, this is a personal battle for me to fight. But nonetheless, this same eagle can swoop down and terrorize your backyard barbecue, steal your pets, harass your pets, and steal your snacks without any kind of consequence. And so my opponents are left to defend a bird that they can't even look at the wrong way without bearing down upon them the full wrath of the United States government. The turkeys, on the other hand, must follow the same rules as you and me, even those who argue across from me. And so sometimes they require a little bit of presidential protection in order to, not die. So, and if they misbehave, their punishment is swift, severe, and, that was supposed to be a picture of a turkey with gravy, and it was supposed to be, whatever. Their punishment is typically accompanied by mashed potatoes and gravy, is my point. So I ask you to remember this, if nothing else. The turkey is your representative, a bird that you should trust. He is hardworking, relatable, a devoted parent, and like many of us, just trying to get through the winter holidays. The eagle, he's more like your wealthy uncle, showing up once a year, critiques your cooking, argues over politics, steals some of your things, and generally makes everything about himself. And that, my friends, is just not what America stands for. And so I ask, if you agree with me, which you probably don't, but that's okay, we should immediately rise, remove our hats, and pledge allegiance, not to an elitist, criminal eagle, but to the humble, democratic, and unmistakable American, the turkey. Thank you all very much.
Hey, why don't you step here from your chair? Another round of applause for right here. Oh! I'd like to invite, for our next portion, I'd like to invite all of the debaters up to the stage. We have a bit of a Q&A. Here, the first question is to everyone on the panel. If your bird competed in an Olympic-style competition, what events would showcase your bird's superiority?
Hello. The eagle would be the clear winner in every Olympic event.
Anybody else?
Next question.
Curling.
Eagles got it beat on that, too. They're just faster, stronger in every way.
The real answer here is the turkey would win at speed walking.
Say that again, I'm sorry?
The turkey would win at speed walking.
Speed walking,
like
yes, there we go.
Break dancing.
Speed walking, not yet approved for Olympic competition.
Break dancing.
They said no fact checks.
Correct.
Okay, let's move on. There we go. As some of you know, I teach in the Department of Political Science here. We have a politics question that came in tonight. Does your bird have what it takes to mend the partisan divide in Washington? And if so, how?
No.
I think that about settles it, yeah.
I believe the turkey could. I'm a big believer in the underdog. If the Chicago Cubs can win the World Series in 2016, the turkey can help the partisan divide. I believe so. Gobble till you wobble. We can all get behind Thanksgiving.
There you go. Anybody else? Okay, just offering a thing. One more question that came in. It's a doozy. If your bird were to star in a remake of a Hollywood blockbuster, what movie would it be, and what role would your bird play?
Top Gun. Maverick.
I believe the eagle would be in Rambo: First Blood.
That's a good one.
The turkey would be in the 2016 version. What is the weird 2016 going on? The remake of Ghostbusters. And of course, the turkey would play all the roles because it's a collective,
I'm going to change it and make it a TV show because there are no rules. Little House on the Prairie because, as I mentioned, it's the only bird that's capable of fully raising its family.
Also, Michael Landon.
I think the eagle would be a really good Adam Sandler in any Adam Sandler movie.
It's because there's not a whole lot going on up there.
Says the turkey. Have you looked at it?
Okay, round of applause for our Q&A section. Thank you, panelists. And so, my fellow Americans, ladies and gentlemen, mesdames and messieurs, esteemed colleagues, students required to be here, and students who just wanted to learn, a decision now must be made. On the question before us, which is more American? Again, we are doing this by applause, loudness. Everyone, clear your throat. This is where you're going to need to yell, okay? Stand, you have placards, you have signs to wave. This is your moment. We are asking the question, which is more American? By applause, who favors the eagle? There you go. All right. And now, by applause, who favors, on the question of which is more American, who favors the turkey? All right. Okay. This was a little close. We're going to have to do it again. Okay. By applause and cheer, who favors the eagle? All right. And by applause, who favors the turkey? All right. All right. I asked some of my students, we need a drum roll. You got to keep it going. It's wet. By the ruling of the judge, and that's me, the 2025 annual April Fool's Day, keep going, tongue-in-cheek academic debate between the eagle and the turkey over which is more American has resulted in a win for the eagle. Okay. The jingoism is overwhelming. Thank you very much. Fellow colleagues, students, and members of the public, much like the beginning of the Major League Baseball season that occurred this past week, last year's record means nothing. And so for those on the turkey, wait till next year. You will start in first place like everybody else, and we will come back. We now actually are going to spend the next moment or so. We have a presentation of the official Eagle Turkey Debate Chalice. I'd like to ask all our debaters to come and stand in front of the dais, and we will do this. First, we have some, I'm going to have to just speak loud. We have some parting gifts. You're including your very own RIPPAC t-shirt. Woo! Everybody gets one. Thing. You'll be the first one on your block, and you'll be a very cool thing. And now, you guys come closer. Stand like right. Come closer. There you go. Closer, closer. Oh, sorry. Everybody. Thank you.
We're making plans.
And here we go to the winners for Team Eagle. Your challenge. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Let's give a round of applause for our wonderful. Participated, enjoy the program. The bios are really funny. Connor Spiegel over there, class of 2019, wrote them. So anyway, thank you for coming out. We look forward to seeing you at future things. Everybody have a safe trip home. Thank you. Thanks a lot.